Wiso Vazquez, what's going on, man? Thanks for joining us.
I'm ready to go. I'm good. Hey, I heard one team is perfect. I heard it's Mexico. That's like the only thing I heard after that segment. So
perfect on points, on the standings,
Just wanted to make sure.
Still, we're gonna get into this. I would love to get your room for improvement for the FMS side. But certainly perfect on points after playing in front of an empty stadium, no fans at the Azteca against a sort of makeshift Jamaica squad.
Yes.
What were your takeaways from that match overall? Obviously, it was a mix of the Olímpicos and what I would consider the A squad. Clearly looking to rotate some players as well. What were your takeaways from that game?
All right, so when you need Henry Martin to score in the 89th minute to secure a win, it's a little nerve-wracking, right? But there's definitely two sides of El Tri, and hopefully fans can see that, not necessarily by the nationalism of the press in Mexico and everyone just kind of freaking out because we couldn't beat this very different Jamaica. Obviously, all the players that were missing. So there's definitely two sides. One, we should be able to beat this team, no problem. Two, everyone understands. You guys have been talking about it, right? It's qualifying. All you need to do is get that win, especially at home. Win at home. # win at home. So there's times the fans are freaking out because it wasn't an easy win, but then we just kind of have to relax. We have to look at that match and see that Mexico had 70% of possession. Mexico had 27 shots, 9 shots on goal. Jamaica had 1, and it went in. We have to go. If you look at any of the teams in CONCACAF and you give them all the stats and you give the score, everybody will raise their hand and say they'll take it. Look at what's going on with Canada. You guys talking about somebody that really should be worrying about those points drop because then they go against the mighty U.S., right? The kings of CONCACAF right now that you guys are selling that.
We'll take it.
Yeah, you're selling it again.
Say it again for the people in the back. Say it again for the people in the back.
Something that the U.S. and MLS does is marketing. And already after 2 games, you're already the kings of CONCACAF, even though it's been like 10 years that there hasn't even been in there. But you know what? You're perfect at that. You'll give it that. I mean, it's
we'll take it. But we still actually want to ask you about the lineup.
Yeah.
And man, I got a couple questions for you. I guess let's just start with the lineup. Funes Mori, do you think he's the guy going forward for the team? Do you even start him in this upcoming game? Because it seems like at times when I watch him play, one of these things is not like the other. Like he just doesn't necessarily fit as much as the success he's had at Monterrey. And we know he can score goals, but I don't know if he's the right fit. And I know that Raul Jimenez is hurt and he might not ever find his form, and Chicharito, Carlos Vela are never getting called back in. But do you start with a Vega? Do you start with a Martin instead here to maybe change things up a little bit? Or do you think that Funes Mori is the guy?
There's two different things. What will Tata do and what the fans want are completely different, right? Because I think Tata Martino will continue to stick with Funes Mori, even though Henry Martin went in there and did score. But Funes Mori was there. Tata Martino did something different that he hasn't done before. He switched up to two number 9s at the end of the game, and it worked. Something that I was like, wow, at the sideline, seeing there's 2 9s right now working, and it worked. But he still stuck with Funes Mori. He didn't take him out of the game. And Henry Martin went in there. So I think, Tata Martino is stubborn. He'll stick with Funes Mori because he is a very talented player. We've seen what he's done in Monterrey, historic player in Monterrey. And at times, that could have been an amazing assist that could have given to Piojo Alvarado and it would have gone in, and it would have been 2-0 right there. So Funes Mori, there is one thing is not like the other. And I think you hit it on perfectly, Jimmy. But there is something going on with this El Tri that everybody is kind of like not giving their 100%. Look at Tecatito in the Gold Cup, a player that is amazing on the field and can go over players. Didn't really have the greatest Gold Cup, right? So we're starting to see that most of the players, there's something going on in there. If it's confidence, if it's looking ahead of the pressure that Mexico has during these qualifiers. And I think that that's the biggest picture that Tata hasn't gotten everyone to play at 100%. And I can give you that reason. Injuries galore. If we're looking at the lineup, right, of what the players that came on in Jamaica, that was 6 Olímpicos. You said it, Heath, right? And at the same time, if you're looking at the lineup, there should probably be 7 players that could be in the starting 11. And I can, we can go through them. Tecatito, Chucky, Raul Jimenez, Herrera, right? You have Johan Vazquez, who just went to Europe. Imagine if we told the U.S. 7 of your starting players are not going to play in the qualifiers and you get a win. you'll take it.
So why do people want Tata Martino out so bad then? Because they know that injuries, they know that he's dominating in possession and shots, even against the U.S. in both finals. They were in control good portions of those games, but yet the fans still don't seem satisfied. They almost seem like Arsenal fans to me. I'm just going to say it. Like you were just nothing. You
can't never there yet.
You're getting close because I feel like the fans are never happy with whatever's happening on the field. And like, man, that's a slippery slope. It's a slippery slope.
And Wiso, can I add one thing on that? You mentioned all the shots that the team had, and then it took Henry Martin to the very end to score. Yeah. That's sort of the point, right? Like you still got the goal. And I think a lot of the chatter was like, well, old Mexico wouldn't have ever finished that. They would have had all this attacking power. So they would have had those 7 players on the field.
Old Mexico? Old Mexico tied against Jamaica in 2013 and then
that's my point.
Qualify.
They were saying that old Mexico would have had all those chances and not scored in the 89th
got it.
minute. They would not have had that finishing. You would have had those 7 players on the field, like you said, and perhaps they don't get the result because you have all your stars and it just doesn't fall into place. But this one, you dominated. Yeah, it could have been 9-1 or 9-0 potentially if they didn't even get that one shot. But they still got that goal in the end at home to get the 3 points, and you can build on that.
Yeah, no, and that's exactly what it is. When you're saying it, Jimmy, why the fans want already Tata out? 2 reasons. Lost to the U.S. Mm-hmm. That's it. You lost to the U.S. in a Nations League game that was crazy, where it was Guardado, who has not missed a PK in such a long time, the captain going in and missing a PK, Pulisic doing – it was just a perfect way for the U.S. to just get that step ahead. And then came a Gold Cup where at the very beginning of the Gold Cup, Chucky Lozano has an injury. All players are scared because what happens during that Gold Cup? They don't go to the qualifiers. Tata Martino's watching to see they're not playing their full 100. And, the P chant here, and there are so many things outside of it. Come the game against MLS team. And the psychology, something that Mexico, and you guys played in the 2000s, you knew in your head you can beat Mexico, maybe not on the field. And then sometimes it did happen on the field because of it. Mm-hmm. It's now bringing that. And I wrote about that, where the psychology of the game is very, very important when Mexico players play against the U.S. Once they get in your head, once you're up 1-0, it's over. The 2-0 was a perfect example of that. And I started to see that this summer with players thinking that, there's something going on around, their heads, where Mexico scores in the very first minute in the Nations League, and then, we're good.
So, Wiso, what I don't understand is that I hope there are some sensible takes that are happening over in Mexico, because the U.S. only beat Mexico on set pieces, and you missed that penalty. And I guess I'm really just thinking, if Tata Martino isn't the coach, who do you think is out there that's going to do any better than that guy?
No, you said it. I think the results matter, right? The U.S. credit, you won, and then obviously the Gold Cup won. But we have to look at how that. It wasn't like the U.S. dominated, and that's what I'm trying to tell everybody. It wasn't that Mexico has been dominated completely. It just sometimes happens that luck happens. And it's happened to be on the U.S. side, which Mexico, if we're looking at it, many games go that way too, when you're looking at that. But when you say, fire Tata, who are you going to bring, especially in this? Do we call up Aguirre once again to save us? Piojo, we come back. There isn't anyone that could come in of the regurgitation of coaches that are happening in Liga MX. Not a single person that's there. Hugo Sanchez, you guys remember him back in the 2000s? Yeah. There's no one. There's no one that's going to come in, and there's no one that knows the team or could come into the qualifiers and say, yeah, we'll go through it. So no, I think that stays. But it could, if we would have lost, on Thursday, and then Costa Rica comes in, the pressure comes in playing in Costa Rica, and then Panama, and you have 0 points, 1 point. That's when the pressure will start.
Yeah.
But
so
they did
it. Yeah. So let's talk about this Costa Rica versus Mexico match. Obviously, Tata Martino is apparently not traveling for this with an eye problem.
Yes, he had eye surgery on Friday, which on Thursday at the beginning of the day, they said, that he was having some issues, had successful eye surgery. And so no, he's staying. He's staying, and it's going to have to do the old phone walkie-talkie or however it is through a connection. I'm pretty sure it's cell phone now, but yeah. And that's another reason, when you're looking at this game, when you don't have your coach on the sideline to figure out what's going on and make changes, in time, it's going to be a tough game, and it's Costa Rica.
Yeah, we get so obsessed in the U.S. around the squad you put out for away games versus home games, and we can debate it all day, and I'm sure it's the same on the Mexico side. You're now playing in Costa Rica, right? Costa Rica, they're an aging nation, but they're playing at home, right? Who we saw Costa Rica somehow got lucky the other day, but they're at home now. What kind of lineup do you expect to roll out for this? Is it a defensive-minded one? Does it differ when it's home and away for Mexico, or what do you see happening?
It's not necessarily a home and away type of scenario. It's the fact that there are 3 games in this qualifying, in this first round. And if everyone's talking, this is brand new for everybody. It isn't actually. Mexico in 2013. The very, when we call it Titanic, started with 3 games right off the bat. And if you're looking back at what happened, the coaching is saying that it took a lot because you had to change players, the rotaciones. You had to use them. So, but I think Tata Martino circled this game saying, this is who we're going to go because we need this win. This is a win that it's attainable because of the aging Costa Rica. And this is a team where we can take away 3 points at somebody at home. And that's why Tecatito didn't start. When we're looking at it, I think Guardado, you have Jonathan Dos Santos that's going to be in the middle. There's some questions in the back line. Also, Gallardo starting was a question at the beginning in Jamaica. I think he's going to make 6-7 changes. There's a lot that was happening in that first one. And that's where I kind of go, after leaving the rainy Estadio Azteca, even though I was like, wow, we needed Henry Martin to score to win the game. I look back and actually watch the game again and I see, hey, with 7 subs in there from the Olímpicos coming in and scattered in there, Mexico got a result in the first qualifier. It's a positive. So now we're going to see Mexico, I think, going forward. I think they're going to want to get the win. I think they're going to want to make sure they score early, something that Tata Martino's team don't do, and get in there. Because this is an aging Costa Rica, it's not going to be a full stadium. I think the capacities are only like 4,000 or 5,000 fans that, as far as tickets that have been sold. But also, Mexico does well in Costa Rica. Aside from 2013, even between the 2010 runs, they do well. It's not like an environment like Honduras. It's not like the Cuscatlan for the U.S. So although it is away, there are some advantages for Mexico, and we'll see. We'll see what happens because it's CONCACAF qualifying.